Welcome to Safe in Our World's 2024 Mental Health Game Dev Champion Showcase, hosted by me, Doug Cockle.
And me, Cassie Hughes.
Now, for those of us who don't know who you are, Cassie, I mean, who doesn't know who you are? But just in case there's one person out there who doesn't know who you are, tell us about yourself.
My name's Cassie. I'm a streamer. I'm also known as Geeky Cassie. I love gaming, but I also do bespoke events within the gaming industry. I have a community called Black Twitch UK, and I also have a care agency for vulnerable adults, and I support them in the community. But most importantly, I love games. And how about you?
Well, first of all, that's awesome. That's really cool. And secondly, I'm me. If you don't know me, you might know me better, actually, as Geralt of Rivia from the Witcher video game series, and many other games. I'm an actor, I do voices, I do all kinds of things, and I'm a Safe in Our World patron because I love Safe in Our World.
We're also with Sarah Sorrell, who is our charity director for Safe in Our World.
Oh, I'm so excited for today. This has been a long while coming and we're super excited. Yes, I'm Sarah. I'm the charity director here at Safe in Our World. And it's lovely to see a couple of patrons here with us today. So before I tell you a bit more about Safe in Our World, Doug, why did you want to be a patron of Safe in Our World?
Oh gosh, I didn't know anything about Safe in Our World, but it was starting up because it didn't exist. 2019, late 2019, early 2020, I was contacted by Neil Broadhead, and he just said, "Hey, we're starting this charity, and it's all about mental health in the games community and beyond. And we just thought you might be interested. We're looking for patrons. Would you be interested in being a patron of Safe in Our World?" And I was like, that sounds really cool. And at that time, I was just starting a new job teaching at a university, teaching acting, running a course. And I had all these students who were coming to me with all kinds of interesting, questions and problems and things they were trying to sort out. And I was just like, well, this is perfect. I'm in the middle of, mental health issues all the time. So I joined up as a patron in, I think it was early 2020. And I was really pleased to be asked. And here I am today. And Cassie, how did you get involved in Safe in Our World?
Oh gosh. So I spent a year and a half thinking that Rosie was a different person, and I called her Rachel for ages, and she was telling me about Safe in Our World, and we had a meeting one day, and then I realized, oh, okay, I thought you were someone else, and we bonded over that. She told me more about what Safe in Our World did, and I've been working with them since. They have done so much to support not only what I've done within gaming, but my community as well. I'm really big on, using games to navigate things with my mental health, whether it be grief, whether it be loneliness, whether it be anxiety. So streaming's done that, and it got me through lockdown. So it's pretty much the only thing that's like this in this space. So it's perfect for me.
I love games for exactly that. I mean, one of the things that's helped me in terms of using games as a way to improve my mental health is just to escape. I just use it to escape. Sometimes it's just nice to kind of delve into a world where the consequences aren't real, but you can still play with consequences. And not actually be hurt, or not even that, just to be able to forget about the real world for a very short period of time. Games have such an amazing ability to allow us to escape, but sometimes to allow us to escape with meaning.
Yes. Oh, do you know, that's such a good point. With meaning is exactly it. That's what it feels like. And I have sobbed almost every game that has like a story. So it's the immersion, the feeling of connection, and the feeling of like a story that's told in maybe better words than I could use myself. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. I'm just conscious there may be a few people out here who don't know too much about Safe in Our World. So if I can have a minute, let me just explain how the charity began. And Doug, you're absolutely right. It was way back before COVID. So I think it was back about 2017. A group of industry folk were at an event, and they were chatting about mental health. And they'd all had their own journeys. and also knew that the industry was struggling a bit. So after a lot of conversations and a lot of time on World Mental Health Day 2019, Safe in Our World was launched. So as you see, the rest is history. So Safe in Our World is the global mental health charity for the video games world. Our work is kind of twofold. We are here to look after the industry and make it a safe and welcoming place to work, but also we have a whole host of helplines and resources for gamers too. Our overarching mission is to reduce the stigma around mental health, make it a natural topic of conversation, and really empower people to reach out for help if they're struggling. So I'm pleased to say in the 5 years we've been going, we've had loads of achievements, and our helpline numbers have been used over 300,000 times by people looking for help. And we've been able to invest over $300,000 into training for the industry, again, to make it a more accessible and welcome place to work. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of background about Safe in Our World and why we're all so passionate about what we do. But obviously we're here today to talk about our Game Dev Champions and see who the winners are. So I'm going to stop talking and hand back to our wonderful hosts.
Sarah, thank you so much as well, though, for everything like you're doing and everything that Safe in Our World does. It's really important. And also on the professional side, like community management, most of us are thrust into the job and we're like, okay, we're going to have to figure it out. So the amount of resources that I got from there and the journals as well, and just general ranting to everyone that works in Safe in Our World about every problem that I have is just invaluable as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Cassie. If anybody asks me my two most proud moments during my time, it's going to be when we launched Sidekick and I held that journal for the very first time. I was actually so emotional. And the other thing was something that we did really early on, which you've just mentioned, which is the mental health first aid training for community managers. So important, such a group of people that have been left behind. Nobody was looking after them. And we had people from over 27 countries apply for places on that. So I'm just so glad you mentioned those. And again, I'm going to stop talking.
Thank you, Sarah. And next up, we're going to introduce Em. Em, would you like to tell us more about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So hi, I'm Em. I am the Communications and Events Manager here at Safe in Our World. I haven't been here long, I'm in my second month, but that does mean I've inherited the Game Dev Champions project, which has been absolutely fantastic seeing all the submissions come through. I think we've had around about 112 submissions that we have judged. There's going to be 25 finalists today that I'm very excited to go through. It's a very exciting time.
So, Em, this challenge, tell us a little bit about it. What did it involve?
So the whole motivation behind Game Dev Champions was to empower gamers and developers to basically share their story. We were looking for authentic lived experiences, particularly around mental health and the pandemic, the impact that COVID-19 had on people's lives, having those themes woven into the games that we received. We've seen so many amazing submissions that touch on so many different kinds of topics within the umbrella of mental health. We were interested in seeing aspiring devs learning new skills as well, working together either solo or as a team. And just an opportunity to use games as a medium to explore important conversations, basically.
And it's been quite involved, hasn't it? I mean, this isn't like a short thing. This isn't like a weekend experience. This is something that's taken place over a relatively long period of time, which means that these developers who've taken part in this challenge have actually committed a fair amount of time, talent, and skill to create these games.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clearly been a labor of love for so many of the submissions we've seen. Like, the devs have gone all out. Some of the stuff that I've seen over the last few weeks has been astounding. They've had 5 months to work on their own projects, whether they're working individually or as a team, and just
5 months.
Yeah, they've really poured everything into it. It's been
Wow, and this is while they're doing their other jobs and everything else. So it's a real labor of love that these people have. This journey that they've taken has been a real labor of love for them.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see that in the outcome. You can see that in the games that they've created.
Well, that's awesome. I don't know about you, Cassie, but I'm really excited to see what we've got coming. I haven't seen any of the games yet. I'm just about to get into it, and I can't wait.
I'm really excited as well. I don't know what to expect. I wish we could like see their faces, but this is the next best thing. So.
A pillar for Xbox is when everybody plays, we all win. Xbox have been long-standing supporters of Safe in Our World, and they were incredibly enthusiastic to support the Game Dev Champions event. They are committed to improving accessibility resources for developers and players alike. A great example is their accessibility guidelines for developers ranging from color contrast and font size through to content warnings and difficulty scaling. Thank you again for your support. Xbox, when everybody plays, we all win. Thanks, Xbox, you're awesome!
I have a message from Discord to share with you all. Discord's mission is to be the best place for players to talk and hang out before, during, and after gaming. Sponsoring Safe in Our World's mental health dev champions felt like a natural fit. In our recently published research about our users' mental health and well-being, those surveyed identified playing games online as the highest chosen activity for supporting their mental health, followed by playing sports or exercising, face-to-face connection with family and friends, creative outlets, and connecting with family and friends online. We know that games can also help people share their stories and process their emotions and experiences, as this event has shown. We also recognise the importance of community, so we were thrilled to host a masterclass on creating and maintaining healthy spaces on Discord. Discord is committed to supporting our users' mental well-being, and we work hard to help them uplift each other and their communities. We are grateful to be a part of this event.
Time to announce our Discipline Award winners. Thank you to all our prize sponsors, Unity, Cinti, and Xbox. Winners receive Unity Year License, Unity Store Voucher, Cinti Voucher, Game Pass Ultimate Year Subscription, and mentorship with our judges, and personalized introductions to indie publishers.
The audio award goes to One Off Detective.
The narrative award goes to The Wish.
The Game Design Award goes to Letters.
The Innovation Award goes to On the Trajectory of Your Rocket to the Moon.
The Art Award goes to Emotional Damage.
The Technical Innovation Award goes to Life in Small Steps.
One fruit after another, life on edge still, fighting till now.
I'm okay, anxiety-wise. But I still feel like I'm trying to navigate life blindfolded.
How so?
Well, since I started the new treatment, my symptoms have been more manageable, but I feel like managing them is all I do. Okay, I have 3 ways to move the dots now.
We'll now have a quick break before we announce our entry category award winners.
Devolver Digital is proud to be a sponsor of Safe in Our World and the Mental Health Game Dev Champions. We at Devolver Digital are an eclectic collection of human weirdos dedicated to publishing the creative work of independent game developers from around the world. Whether through the process of its creation or in how it influences those who experience it, art has an incredible relationship with mental wellness. Devolver Digital thanks you for sharing your experiences and continuing to create digital art that helps everyone to feel safe in our world.
time to announce our entry category award winners.
Thank you to all our prize sponsors, Unity, Cinti, Smitesoft, and Xbox. Winners receive Unity Year License, Unity Store Voucher, Cinti Voucher, Game Pass Ultimate Year Subscription, and mentorship with our judges. Winners will also receive free Smitesoft assets and personalized introductions to indie publishers.
The solo 18 to 24 entry award goes to Just a Month.
The Solo 25 Plus entry award goes to Mind Over Machine.
Build, destroy, build, destroy. I spent my days assembling data cubes, packaging up AI emotions only to watch them get deleted. All that knowledge, all those thoughts, gone in an instant.
The small team 18 to 24 entry award goes to Close Knit.
The Small Team 25 Plus entry award goes to Seeds of Hope.
Time for a short break before we announce the Grand Game Award winners. So, with the games that you had, what kind of games were they? Were they everything? What was the requirement? What was the kind of vibe that you were going for?
Yeah, I think so primarily for how I've been supporting Game Dev Champions and the project is I've been looking after the judges, helping to support them through the process, helping to give them their scorecards and work out how we were going to do everything fairly and non-biasedly. Coming from a psychology and neuroscience background, I'm very into data and stats. I'm a massive nerd. So that was really important to me, that everything was judged fairly and that we were giving as many opportunities to folks as possible. One of the things that we also really encouraged was to have folks submit the game as it is to this point in which it is at the end. So towards the end at 5 months, some people were telling us that the game was maybe 60-70% complete, and we said, well, absolutely, please do take part, please submit what you have, because you are sharing your story with us, you're being vulnerable with us. It's an absolute honor to see that. Please send it over. This is something we want to see and we want the world to be able to see as well. In terms of the games that we had as submissions, they vary massively in genre and scope and style and size. They are incredible. I had so much fun playing everything. Genuinely, that got to be my job for the best part of 2 weeks, was just playing games just to check out everything. We've had Metroidvanias as submissions, we've had narratives and visual novels, we've also had small experiences, packaged experiences of making you really feel something, to emulate what it is like to feel those intrusive thoughts, for example. For me, it was very resonating, in particular for a couple of those games. I really felt a lot when I was playing them. I don't know about you, did you, how was it for you? And because you also helped me out with that as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of them dealt with some really raw, vulnerable topics. I think Jess did the whole team a real solid when we were going through the process of looking through all the submissions, because Jess took it on themselves to put content warnings in this big old spreadsheet so we knew what we were going into before we went into it. I really appreciated that, because there were some topics in there, particularly around anxiety and negative self-talk, I think was a big one for me. that would have really hit home and caught me off guard if I wasn't aware of what I was going into. So yeah, really, really important, but very, very rough topics at some times, but also really wholesome stories at other times. So a good mix, I think.
And were there particular games that really stood out to you? That, I mean, taking winning and applying and all that stuff out of the question, just having played the games, were there particular games that you just went, wow, this is really cool?
Yes, we have a honorable mentions list that we are super excited to share with folks after this, because we think that's really important too. There were a lot of games that we played that moved us as a team, that moved the community as well. This is something else we've been trying to keep an eye on, is if anyone has a game that they really want to highlight, please do write in and say, I love this. Please share it with the world, because I think that's important. There was one game that was called the Adult Test, that really reminded myself and also Sky, one of our other team members, of those classic like Flash, kind of harking back to the early noughties time when Flash was still around, RIP, of just those small packaged experiences where you had to just keep it together. You wore a couple of lines of a smiley face and a couple of circles for the eyes, and then like some eyebrows, and you were pulling a happy face using just very basic shapes, and you had to keep it together. That was it. So what you had to do was press a particular button, or using your mouse click around the screen to try and keep your face together, metaphorically and also physically on your screen, whilst you were also getting intrusive thoughts, or you were getting negative talk, self-talk, or externally as well coming up on the screen against you. And it was just a beautiful metaphor for how hard it really is to keep that mask on. As someone who's neurodivergent, being able to keep the mask on and to keep it together is something that I really found incredibly profound. So shout out to the Adult Test. That was a real fun one for me. Thank you. I had a great time.
I think if I'm going to throw an honourable mention out there, I really liked the concept that Inflorescence brought about going to a new place, not really feeling confident in meeting people, not really knowing your way around, and the way that this game dealt with that idea of being in unfamiliar landscape is they started out, everything was kind of dark and grim, black and white, scary images to represent sort of the anxiety of being in a new place. But as you meet people and as you converse with people and you find mutual interests and common ground, everything starts lighting up. Like whole sections of the game become colourful, and the characters on screen that were originally kind of scary looking just become normal people, normal friendly looking people. I think that's a really cool visual metaphor for the fear of going somewhere new.
That is really cool. And just, there is no award for this, but just to say, the award for coolest title for a game is On the Trajectory of Your Rocket to the Moon. I just think that is the best game title ever.
Yeah.
Love it.
Like TFL rebrand. Yeah.
TFL rebrand. We'll get on the phone.
Very good. Like, I feel like I quite like a good story game. I like something because Doug and I were talking before about like games like What Remains of Edith Finch, etc. So if I wanted like a good story game or something that's gonna make me cry a little bit, and then like use it as an excuse to soothe for the day, what kind of game would you think? Is there anything in there that kind of fits in that, or
So yeah, I think something in terms of narrative, something that really stuck out to me of all the games that I saw was Seeds of Hope. Like I was sobbing real tears at the end of that game. It really moved me. I remember jumping on a call actually after I played it. I needed to talk to somebody about the experience. So we were having a big conversation about like what makes that game so wonderfully moving, wonderfully emotional. And I think the way that it deals with sort of intrusive thoughts, like the dialogue is you're sabotaging the dialogue with your own your own internal concerns, your own internal anxieties around your business not being good enough. So people are coming in looking for flowers, looking for plants grown for them, potted up for them. And every so often, the dialogue that they're sending to you changes. It becomes purple, and it's saying something else that's really nasty and negative. And it pushes you to, question whether you're up for this role, whether you should be owning your own small business. And I think it's a really relatable thing, having this background voice in your head which is saying that you're not doing a good enough job, and that people are thinking something they're not saying. And just, the way it handled that was amazing. But I remember getting to the end, and I don't want to spoil it, I don't want to give you any spoilers, I want you to play it for yourself. It was fantastic. But I got to the end, and how do I say this without spoiling it, actually? Play to the end. It's got a very good narrative ending.
Draw the veil.
Yes, you're not going to get anything else out of me. But one of the things about that game that I thought was so fantastic, as somebody who needs to jump into the action straight away, with a narrative game, I tend to find there's too much reading and not enough doing for my brain to get immediately into it. And with Seeds of Hope, you could immediately start doing things while you were absorbing the story. And I appreciated that. That's 10 out of 10.
There's been some really, really clever metaphors going on. I think folks have really taken the idea from a game design perspective and a psychological perspective to explore more, I suppose, niche topics in mental health as well. So we've seen topics ranging from schizophrenia to OCD to also anxiety and depression. But from what you were saying earlier, Doug, about that external looking into someone going through grief or chronic pain or something like that, we've seen a lot of those stories being retold as well. And I think that's been, well, obviously, firstly, an honor. Thank you for the vulnerability from people, but also opening as well to these ideas of topics that are usually not as widely spoken about. And that's exactly what the mission is for Safe in Our World, is to reduce the stigma around mental health and to tackle the trickier topics that folks don't usually talk about, because there's just a lack of information about it. There's a lack of information around complex PTSD, for example, and how that can show up, or personality disorders and how that can affect us, and also the conversations of intersectionality, so how your identity can affect how mental health shows up for you and how you experience something. So there was one game that was, I think it was called Glass Thoughts, that explored the perspective of someone who was Polish Jew during the time of the 1920s in Germany. And it was layers of the impact that it had on constantly facing xenophobia and anti-Semitism, and seeing that as a cultural commentary on top of also experiencing, I won't give anything else away, but experiencing their own things for them as an individual. And I think that it was really, really clever. It was really well written and put together on that sense. So I guess that's another shout out to Glass Thoughts. But I think we digress. We've been talking a lot. It's been really nice. I'm sure folks are absolutely bursting to hear who the grand game.
They want to know who's won.
They want to know
They're
who's
like teasing
won.
them. They're like, give us the goods. Yeah.
Give it to us. So I think we will probably hop on over to that after another short break. And we can show Cassie and Doug some footage from our winners.
I can't
and share
wait to
those.
see it. I so want to see this stuff.
Yeah.
Woo!
Devolver Digital is proud to be a sponsor of Safe in Our World and the Mental Health Game Dev Champions. We at Devolver Digital are an eclectic collection of human weirdos dedicated to publishing the creative work of independent game developers from around the world. Whether through the process of its creation or in how it influences those who experience it, art has an incredible relationship with mental wellness. Devolver Digital thanks you for sharing your experiences and continuing to create digital art that helps everyone to feel safe in our world.
Thank you to all the prize sponsors, Unity, Cinti, and Xbox. The Grand Game Prize is their choice of 2 tickets to DevCom or GDC and an Intel motherboard and CPU. They will also receive support from the Safe in Our World team in arranging introductions at the events.
Winners will also receive a Unity year license, Unity store voucher, Cinti voucher, Game Pass Ultimate Year subscription, mentorship with our judges, and personalised introductions to indie publishers.
And honestly, how cool is that? Thank you to our Grand Game Award Prize sponsors, DevCom and GDC.
The big moment has arrived and we're so excited for this one. Safe in Our World is thrilled to announce that the winner for the Solo Grand Game Award for Mental Health Game Dev Champions 2024 is... For Tomorrow.
Yeah, so this is our Solo Grand Game Award winner by
Jakob Stallander Sigvard.
Yeah, so they are an incredibly talented dev, in my opinion. They have made a Metroidvania, which made me very happy as a Hollow Knight fan and as a fan of Celeste as well. That was one of the games that they mentioned that inspired them. And this is a little compilation of just the very early stages of the game to show you both.
Do you reckon this is going to be quite difficult?
It was tricky, but in a good way. I think what stood out for me, and I could talk about this for hours, is the game feel. So this is with keyboard and mouse when I was playing through and capturing this footage. And I'm not the best with keyboard and mouse, but I could feel so well the physics and the weightiness to it. It felt really good. It felt really authentic. It felt appropriate, and you can usually feel that. And I like that they've used this. I like that they've used this narrative of kind of the rust, and this is the metaphor for. It's the metaphor for continuing on. It's a journey of you must continue to climb. You need to continue to go on. I think that's what's really poignant to me for this, anyway.
Cool. It's a side scroller. Side scrollers are always fun.
Mm-hmm.
I always end up raging at them because I don't never. I always miss all the jumps.
Yeah, it's beautifully put together as well in terms of the animation. I think the developer did a great job. I know that some of the assets were free to use assets that they use, which is absolutely fine. That is all good in terms of the competition. That would be incredible if a solo dev could do all this in 5 months. I would question how.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes as a young designer, not necessarily in age, but in experience or in career, you know, sometimes having free to use assets is just a game changer, because it means, no pun intended, because you know, you just want to get your story out there. That's kind of the main thing. Well, that's my thing. If I was doing a game, I'd go for free to use assets straight away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What does the rust symbolize, did you say?
So I think the rust symbolizes depression, as well as other experiences of anxiety and that feeling of kind of external, being overcome, being overwhelmed. It kind of feels like an inevitability. I think that resonated with me personally quite a lot. I love that they have a bonfire moment as well, as a Souls fan and as a Metroidvania fan. And the map is great as well. I really like that the map is clear and it shows you the different biomes as well. They've really thought really well about the design of this.
It's so interesting to see like the variety of games that got submitted as well. This is yeah, it's just, I wasn't expecting it to. It's just high level, isn't it? It's just of what people can do.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think, yeah, it has all these interstitial moments of where you can You talk about your journey where you keep climbing, and then you have the different biomes as well. I love that there's different soundtracks and music between the different biomes, and they feel like really different places. You usually find in Metroidvanias, you find maneuverability skills that allow you to reach areas that you couldn't access before, which is also really awesome. Here's one of the other biomes now as well, which is just really groovy.
Well, I love the music change as well.
I was just going to say the same thing, Cassie.
Yeah.
I love the music. It's great.
It's real fun. And then just little allusions to a little boss there on afterwards. But I really want to encourage folks to play this through for themselves if they can. There is also the accessibility option to have it in super easy mode as well. So anyone can play it, which thank you so much, because this is as much a experience for folks to enjoy the narrative in the world as well as anything else.
Oh,
so
getting beat
congratulations. Congratulations, Jacob. Really impressive work.
Yeah, this is awesome. Well done.
And now, bringing our Mental Health Game Dev Champions Awards event to a close, the winner of the Team Grand Game Award is... On Constant Delay. Let's take a closer look at the game. So this is On Constant Delay. I had the pleasure of playing this. It was a very wholesome little time. Enjoyed it a lot.
It looks cool. And this was made by Narrativi Digitali, yeah?
Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, I love the fact that some of the games have included a little mental health message just to give you a general sense of what's going to be in the game, the triggers you need to look out for before you start playing. I love that thought.
Yeah, little heads up.
And it's a good way to do it without... It's a good way to do it without like spoiling it as well. Like they've given you enough in there without like telling you the whole story.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I need this in real life, to be honest. Just your simple quest is just to have a breakfast before you go out.
It is breaking things down in the same way as in the morning I break down my actual tasks to get started in the morning. I can feel like super overwhelmed if I don't just do step by step, this is what I need to do.
I always forget things.
Yeah.
I've
like
been
you mean
known...
the bit with him going back to the stove?
Yeah, that kind of thing. I've been known on occasion to like go drive around the block like 3 times because I did I forget this? Did I forget that? Oh, did I lock the door?
Can we appreciate that they called the person inside that unhoused man?
Yeah.
Really considerate language in this game. I feel like I've done that. I feel like I've done that, like thrown away the wrong ticket before. I can sense that. I feel like my bones.
You can like see all the overthinking that he does.
Yeah.
You know, I've always loved these kinds of graphics in games.
Yeah.
They're so simple and yet so clear. That's what I like about it. It's the art is just so clean.
It reminds me of Last Stop. I don't know if you've played it. It's a great game. But it lets you focus on the story quite a lot.
Yeah. So it makes it a bit timeless, like it ages really well when you've got that kind of low poly.
Oh gosh, his anxiety's gone up a lot. Check that. Oh.
The dialogue in this really gets me, like that constant spiraling thought process, just getting worse and worse case scenarios running through your head.
And they got the heartbeat in the soundtrack as well, which is
Gets me.
In the way that, like, I guess the darkness is closing in on him as well. Just feels really dark.
Yeah. Sort of claustrophobic.
Yeah, I need them to fix the elevator. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, really.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That escalates the anxiety like shut up very quickly.
Intense.
And you breathe a big sigh of relief.
Mm.
Ugh.
Oh
And yeah,
gosh.
who's
Oh,
this
no.
boss?
Yeah.
These are the things we have to deal with when the brain races and...
That made me
Yeah,
feel a bit anxious.
I like the gameplay. I think it's really cool, and I love that as his anxiety grows bigger, his world grows smaller.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that's so smart. Yeah. That was making me feel a bit stressed out.
Yeah,
Like,
well, it does,
watching
doesn't it? It
Yeah.
evokes like a physical response in me, particularly when Leonard becomes really stressed out, really anxious, and the heartbeat starts. I think, Doug, you mentioned it, but that really gets me, being able to hear that
Yeah.
heartbeat. Mm.
Yeah. It's awesome. And like I said, I love the graphics. I think the graphics are great, especially for a game like this. I think that it's really important to keep things as clean and simple as possible so that the story of the game is really what's, in real focus.
Precisely. Yeah, I agree. I also like what you said about sometimes with narrative games you get like been bombarded a little bit with a lot of text, especially like when I'm like playing it and I just want to get into the story, or even like streaming it, it can get like a bit overwhelming. So I thought that was like the perfect amount, and the fact that you can engage with things around as well is good. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you especially to everyone who took part.
Thank you to the sponsors of the competition:
Xbox,
Discord,
Shark Mob,
Outright Games,
Devolver Digital,
Future Lab,
and Wired Productions. And thank you to all of you who've watched.
Follow us on socials to keep up with the developers' stories. I've been Cassie Hughes.
And I've been Doug Cockle, and we want you to stay safe in our world.